Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge, and today we have the Country Bears. Woo-hoo. This is based. This is a movie. It's an hour and a half long. It's from 2002, and it's based on the animatronic show that used to be at Disneyland up until about 2001, a year before this came out. Now it still exists at Tokyo Disneyland and at Disney World Magic Kingdom, but yeah, it's long gone. It's been replaced by the Winnie the Pooh ride down past Frontierland, in part of Frontierland kind of thing. And they still have the big, I think, the Country Bear restaurant or whatever. But yeah, this is a movie that is barely, sorry, was not intended. Barely any thing is original about this movie. It is funny despite itself. Um, yes, if you like country music, I do not. As a rule, my rule is any country music made after "Islands in the Stream" by Kenny Rogers, and Dolly Parton. Anything after that is just not country music. It's just pop, rock, country music. It's neo country, whatever it is. It's just not good. This sort of takes elements of modern country rock and makes a little behind the music kind of documentary out of it. The first few minutes shows the rise and fall of the Country Bears, and also at the very end, over the credits, we get to see a lot of stars, a lot of celebrities in music give their 2 cents about how the Country Bears shaped their careers in pretend, obviously. But yeah, this is actually a very star-studded cast. There's a lot of people in this. You know what? I'm going to get to that in a second. I got to get to the whole concept. I got to go over the whole concept of this thing, which is nothing, like I said, we haven't seen before, and nothing that hasn't been made since. That's just like it. If you look at the first new Muppets movie as the closest example, also under the Disney umbrella, the one with Jason Segel and Amy Adams, that movie is pretty much about a little guy who is also a Muppet trying to get the Muppets back together again for a show that can save the theater and save the day. Well, this movie, made many years before before that Muppet movie, has to do with a little bear named Barry. Yes, originally named Barry, leaving home to get the Country Bears back together to save the Country Bear Hall from being demolished. He, literally the first 10 minutes of the film, which I'm not going to spoil anything else much beyond this, but the first 10 minutes of the film, he realizes he's adopted because his family is all human and he's a bear, and he's still confused by this, how he looks a little bit different from most people. But he's got this idea that he might be adopted. And they're like, no, that's not the case. His brother's a jerk about it, and pretty much goes, look, this is how you're different. You are a bear, and we are not bears. And the kid's a jerk. He's a complete jerk, but he's not wrong. But the Country Bears have always shown the kid is the biggest Country Bears fan. He's got stuff all over his walls. He has a scrapbook, everything else, and he watches old videos of them. and their same message was like, hey, if you're you're a Country Bear, it's okay to be different. Well, and you have a destiny and stuff like that. Platitudes. And so the kid decides, well, I'm just going to leave home and go visit the Country Bears Hall. And he just happens to arrive just in time to find that it's about to be demolished because somebody wants to demolish it, and that person is Christopher Walken. Christopher freaking Walken is the bad guy in this film. He doesn't get a whole lot of screen time, believe it or not, but his whole motivation, I don't even... Well, there is a motivation, which I will not ruin for you, because it's one of the twists in the third act, but still, it's It's a really thin, kind of premise. It's nothing surprising, but the fact that you got Christopher Walken as the bad guy and just hamming it up, just being ultra Christopher Walken is kind of awesome. So there are really good things about this film. This film is not great by any means. It's like I said, it's funny despite itself. It's funny because there's little bits that are just in how the actors deliver these things that just make you laugh out loud. It's not sophisticated comedy by any means, and I don't think it's meant to be because it's also for kids. It's really a kids comedy, but also for people who do love the Country Bears. Never mind that the Country Bears in this movie look nothing like the Country Bears from the animatronic show in Disneyland. They might have the same names. I don't know. I don't think I was ever at Disneyland when it still existed. As soon as I ever got to Disneyland was 2004, and this closed in 2001. The show, and if I saw it in Disney World, it was in the 80s, and I don't recall it very well. Anyway, as far as I know, these animatronic bears do not look anything like the originals. Now these are people in costumes in the animatronics. There's probably 6 guys behind them controlling all the eyes, the mouth, and ears, and everything else. And those people are the Jim Henson Company. So I'm like, no matter what you think about this film, the animatronics on this, the characters, how they move, how they look and make faces and everything else is excellent. It's really good stuff. And I was like, this has to be Jim Henson Company. And guess what it was? At the very end, it shows just about when the screen goes to small and it tells you about something else it recommends. That's when it goes Jim Henson Company. I'm like, no. So I enlarged it. And oh, by the way, speaking of also animatronics and the people inside the costumes, this actually has a connection to the Mandalorian. Yeah, Star Wars: The Mandalorian. Misty Rosas she might be Barry. I'm pretty sure she might be Barry because she's smaller than all the other bears. I could be wrong, but she's one of the bears. Misty Rosas is also known for playing Cruel. Oh, gosh, I said his name wrong. But she's also the Frog Lady from season 2. So she's done all of the she does all the character creature movement stuff for 2 seasons of The Mandalorian. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, it's a good 18 years later. She's been in this business for a long time. Way to go, Misty. So speaking of other characters, Barry, the voice is Haley Joel Osment. This is like barely 3 years after The Sixth Sense. So yeah, we got Diedrich Bader playing 2 roles. He plays one of the bears, and also Officer Cheats. He and his bumbling partner, played by hold on, gotta make sure I get his name. Yeah, Daryl Mitchell. I think he was on New Girl. I don't know. The two of them are basically just bumbling Keystone Cops types guys. It's just there's Doofy, and they're trying to chase down. They're trying to find Barry, who they believe has been kidnapped by the bears, and they chase him around and interview his parents, and they're just dorky the entire time. I love Diedrich Bader, so it's and Daryl. So yeah, I'm pretty much okay with them. So there's again a number of good things about this film. This is again not a great film, but elements of it are awesome. We have Brad Garrett playing one of the bears, Stephen Root, Kevin Michael Richardson, man. Oh, Stephen Tobolowsky plays Barry's adopted dad. He is adopted. MC Gainey is the roadie bus driver. Alex Rocco plays their old-time promoter, who's not great. Queen Latifah shows up in this. Oh, and there's also, if you ever wanted to hear a duet of Don Henley and Bonnie Raitt sing like just a classic, I don't know, country power ballad kind of thing together, but as bears, this is a movie for you. I'm not kidding. And the great thing is about this little meta moment, is that as they're performing the singing voices of these two bears on stage in a bar, Bonnie Raitt and Don Henley are sitting at the bar watching the bears sing. And then they give a little commentary, like, oh, they're better than the Eagles. Oh, they're really good, stuff like that. There's a lot of original music by John Hyatt, if you recognize that name. He's a considerably talented songwriter. But yeah, there's so many. I don't want to ruin it. There's a number of celebrities that show up throughout this. Willie Nelson. They really missed out. On the front of the bus, it's hibernation. They really missed out on the fact that it could have been a high bear nation for a whole other joke involving Willie Nelson. But yeah, he just sort of shows up on screen talking about his influences and how that one time he went up on the roof of the White House with one of the bears and had some honey together. It's a very slight drug reference that nobody will get. No child will get anyway. So yeah, this has to be seen to be believed. If you don't like country music, this is going to be difficult to listen to a lot of the time. There are some country singers in this that, or performers that I don't recognize. Sorry. There's at least 2 performances. This is a musical, by the way. It's a musical. Not that anything's performed live or anything, but it's lots of song and dance and sing along with the bears and real music acts that I don't recognize at all. Yeah, it's a little confusing. I don't know if there are big names in country now, but their music, one of the girls that performed the song didn't seem like country, but I could be wrong. It's 2002. That's like a million years ago, so I don't know. I've wondered about this movie for a while, and now I've finally seen it. I will probably never see it again unless it's like a dare or somebody else wants to see it to go, holy crap. But there are some... It's aware of its status. It's aware of what it is. And in that, it makes it funny. So, if you're a big country bear fan, and you haven't seen this movie yet, obviously, it's about time you do it. Don't let it ruin your, how some people get really stupid about, this new Star Wars stuff ruined my vision of what the old Star Wars was. Screw you. If you love the Country Bears, don't worry. This existence of this movie did not eclipse your memory of the show at Disneyland. It's just a modernized movie lark kind of thing that it just exists, and be happy that it does if you're a big Country Bear fan. Maybe you could treat this as an alternate universe in the multiverse of Country Bear realities. So maybe they'll cross over someday. Can you imagine if they made a sequel to this? Maybe they'd search for Barry's parents. That's usually what happens in the sequel. So they'll look for his parents, and it'll be a big emotional thing with bears hugging. And then they'll find out some other twist, and I don't know. It would be bad, whatever it was. It would be just a cash in. So let's be thankful there was never a sequel. All right, let's pick tomorrow's episode.
371.
371. Okay. A little slow on the talking there. 371. Okay. That's another live action take on a classic cartoon. Now, this is not necessarily Disney-ish to me. Maybe it's a holdover. Maybe it's something they brought in from 20th Century Fox. I'm not sure. But I think this is stars Leslie Nielsen. And we're going to watch Mr. Magoo. All right. So we're doing movies. So no breaks. All right. Well, hey, let's knock out these movies. Mr. Magoo on the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. I'll see you back here tomorrow.